Good afternoon. Welcome in. It's Where the 99 Lead. It's a presentation of the University of Pikeville where we talk all things with the University of Pikeville, athletically, academically, and of course with the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine. Our guest today, Dr. Peter Zajac, Associate Professor of Family Medicine and Director of the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation Program. Whew. And Clint Kaufman, third-year Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine student. Gentlemen, welcome to Where the 99 Lead.
Thank you for having us here today, Andrew.
Dr. Zajac, long title.
Long title, yes it is.
And, of course, you're the Associate Professor of Family Medicine. Let's break it down there. What duties do those entail?
Currently, I'm Associate Professor of Family Medicine at the University of Pikeville, Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, and my primary responsibility in that capacity is to teach the first and second year osteopathic medical students in family medicine and to get them best prepared prior to having them go out third and fourth year clinical rotations, and then certainly once they finish there into their residency years.
We'll talk about what the difference is between a first and second year student and third and fourth a little later. The rest of your title, Director of the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation Program. That's going to be a lot of our focus today.
Right, and I'm very excited with having that position because as Director of Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation, what I do is in addition to teaching the students, I coordinate with Susan Wetzel, who's our Standardized Patient Human Model Program Coordinator, all of the curriculum with my colleagues, Dr. William Betts, Dr. Ronna Compton, in terms of making sure that the students, in addition to getting a good background of the variety of different family practice or family medicine conditions that they may encounter down the road, we make sure that we prepare them and make sure that they have a pretty good understanding of how to take a good, thorough history and physical exam, injections, suturing, knot tying, how to interpret chest x-rays, EKGs, laboratory values, and all this kind of culminates with the standardized patient encounter that we're going to talk about here briefly, but it's an added title, if you will, that allows me to take the next step further in addition to teaching, and that's coordinating everything that, quite honestly, all these students need to be familiar with when they go out into not only their clinical rotations, but into practice one day.
You're able to interact with a student all 4 years, working with first and second year, and then on the clinical side as well.
Right. As a clinician, I currently work with the Family Practice Residency Clinic over at Pikeville Medical Center. So it does, in fact, give me the opportunity not only to work with the first year and second year osteopathic medical students, but also with the third and fourth year students who are the very first and second year students that I had not too long ago, who then, if they stay on to do family practice here at Pikeville Medical Center, as an example, will be residents that I'll interact with, and then certainly if they go into another field of interest, they'll probably be going to one of our other hospitals that we work with as well.
Dr. Zajac, let's talk about your background, where you come from, when you arrived in Pikeville, and
Right.
a little about that journey.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I have lived there most of my life, received my training and completed my osteopathic degree from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. I had the opportunity to practice both as a urban practice physician and rural practicing physician. So it gave me different perspectives in terms of the needs of patients from a large city, and then also the needs of patients when they're a little bit outside of the city in what we would call rural America.
Sure.
So it gives me that broad of a perspective. I have always enjoyed teaching. So at the same time, I always served as a preceptor, which means that I took on third and fourth year students, much like Clint, who's here today, to have them round with me and to see patients along with me. After I had done that for a little while, I had decided to then pursue a position that gave me more opportunities to interact with not only students but also residents as well, and I assumed the position of Osteopathic Family Practice Residency Program Director in Northwestern Pennsylvania. Shortly thereafter, let's say about 5 years thereafter, having done that, I heard of an opportunity in Harrogate, Tennessee to teach at one of our neighboring colleges of osteopathic medicine. I was part of the inaugural faculty there, so I had the opportunity to see how a school would start up from the beginning into 3 years of that, Then Doctors Boozer and Betts gave me the opportunity to come here to become Director of Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation, and to be able to start up a program, spearheaded, as you would say, and see it grow right before our eyes, and be able to provide students with an additional experience that would even better prepare them for clinical medicine. Was what got me very excited and interested to come out to the University of Pikeville, Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, to start a program right from scratch with Susan Wetzel, who's our current Standardized Patient Human Model Program Coordinator.
Sure. Coming from the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, and my understanding, one of the oldest osteopathic medical schools in the country,
Yep.
and now the University of Pikeville, Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine. How do the two compare?
Well, the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine is my alma mater. It has a tremendous amount of resources and opportunities. The students there are just as great as I think they are here at our institution. I think the biggest difference is having grown up in a city. I think in order for me to grow both professionally and personally, I think it was time for me to look for opportunities outside of where I was born and raised. And so when this opportunity came up, I was very pleased to hear about it, because it would allow me to personally grow, number one, but number two, professionally grow and start up something that had not been there before we had gotten there, and that's just an exciting time.
It's Where the 99 Lead. It's a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville. Today we talked to Dr. Peter Zajac and Clint Kaufman, a third-year Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine student. We talk about where the 99 lead, those landmark 99 steps that lead to the campus and lead from campus back into the world. Clint Kaufman, a third-year Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine student. We want to learn a little about you, because it's not that long, and you'll be taking those 99 back into the world. Clint Kaufman, tell us a little about your background, where you come from, and how you arrived in Pikeville.
Okay, thank you. I grew up in Henry County, Kentucky. It's about 2 counties outside of Louisville, up in kind of northeast central Kentucky. Went to undergrad in Bellarmine University, which is in Louisville, another semi-small school, actually, that looks a lot like Pikeville for anyone who's been there. After graduating there with a degree in biology, I decided to take a few years off and was spent some time doing some nature photography with my father, owning a business doing that. Then I decided to, again, pursue my original love was medicine. So applied to medical schools, got plenty of interviews, actually, at all osteopathic schools. That's all that I applied to. Visited, interviewed at multiple schools, and being a Kentucky boy, liking the small school, I just felt at home here in Pikeville, which worked out really well. So chose to enroll here and moved down here in, I guess, 2009, and bought a house, and now my wife and I live here, and stayed here for my clinical rotations, and I'm here now for my third-year rotations.
Before we talk about the medical side of Clint Kaufman, nature photographer, in Eastern Kentucky, there are a lot of opportunities. Had you ever been here as a photographer prior to coming to the College of Osteopathic Medicine?
Actually, oddly enough, yes. My father and I were instrumental with the state of Kentucky with elk photography. When the elk herd was started here in Eastern Kentucky, some of the photos that were used for billboards throughout the state of Kentucky were actually our photos.
Wow.
So, yes, I'd been over here mostly in the hazard in that area. We didn't spend a whole lot of time in Pikeville, mostly over there on reclaimed mine land where the elk herds were. But, yes, I'd spent some time over here, absolutely.
Just as you made your way to Pikeville, so have the elk now. They've herded their way into Pike County. Dr. Zajac, what's the standardized patient human model program at the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine?
Andrew, the Standardized Patient Human Model Program at the University of Pikeville, Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine is a program that gives students the opportunity to interact with patients. In this case, it would be standardized patients, and to put into practice those very clinical skills that we had spent some time going over. By doing that, they're able to put it into practice and get constructive feedback from our clinical faculty, and this all occurs before they go out into their 3rd and 4th year clinical rotations. So the hope and anticipation is by going through this process, going through the Standardized Patient Human Model Program and working with standardized patients, that they're given the opportunity to refine their skills before they go out and start interacting with actual patients, either in the office or hospital setting.
So they get to practice.
Yes,
standardized
they get to
patient.
practice and put their skills into actual practice to hopefully refine and learn from their experiences.
What's the difference? I hear standardized patient, I hear human model. To someone like me, could be the same thing. What's the difference?
Well, the difference is a standardized patient is an individual who's trained to portray a patient with certain signs and symptoms for the purposes of training and evaluation of our osteopathic medical students. The human model, however, is an individual who serves as an actual patient for physical examination purposes, male and female physical examination purposes, and again, that for the purpose of training and evaluating our osteopathic medical students.
How do you train someone to become a standardized patient? Sounds like if they're emulating symptoms, it would require some training. Human model, maybe not so much.
Yeah, with standardized patients, usually when we go into an evaluating or an assessment period, or even if it's for practice purposes during the training phase of the student's experience, they're usually given a case study. And that case study gives them certain things that they need to remember, objectives, if you will, for the purposes of making sure that when the standardized patient-student encounter occurs, that they're able to help facilitate that and make sure the student is given the opportunity to elicit a good history and do the appropriate physical exam to arrive at the appropriate diagnosis before the encounter is over.
And first and second year students are involved with standardized patients and
Yes, they
human
are.
models.
Yes.
Clint Kaufman, now a third year student, you've had involvement with standardized patients and human models. How has that helped you in your studies, in your preparation for clinical?
It really is a great experience because there's really no book that you can. I mean, there's books on histories and physicals, and there's books on the exams, and you read the book, but until you get face to face, and until you actually have to physically do certain things, it doesn't. It's not the same thing.
Sure.
It's for instance like being. We can talk about being on the radio, we can talk about being on TV, but until you do it, you don't know that exact experience. So.
Sure.
When you get in there, you see the patient, you get their feedback, you get your professor's feedback. It's a nice way, even though you're graded, it's a good way to learn in a controlled environment. On clinicals, it's no longer controlled. I mean, it's a semi-controlled environment still.
A misdiagnosis could make a difference in someone's life.
Yes, sir. And it's just nice to have that feedback. You learn the process, and because the process is different for certain physicians, but when you get a good basis on the history and physical process, then you can go out and you can utilize that. And when the physical exams, when you learn those on the human model, it's just another thing. Then you feel more comfortable in when you go out on your third year, starting your third year, then of course your fourth year rotation, and then on, it's that foundation, and the foundation is the most important thing for all of that. Just so you really are strong in the basic things first.
While you had been prepared from classrooms, from books, we've all been patients in our lives from the time we were small children. We've been on that side of a doctor's visit. Your first exam as a doctor, examining a standardized patient or a human model, how odd was that for you as a med student in spite of your preparation?
Well, it's a little odd in the standpoint that the most pivotal exams you do generally are the male and female genital and pelvic exams. So those are definitely an uncomfortable moment for the male and or the female for the opposite sex. I mean,
Sure.
that's just it's never comfortable for the physician, and I think that is the most pivotal thing. And it was definitely an uncomfortable moment.
Sure.
Even though you're in the room with your preceptor and your physicians, and it's also kind of you're nervous to the fact that you want to perform well because they taught you, how to do this.
Sure.
And you've used the models, the plastic models and whatever, just to practice. So it's a very it's nerve-wracking to say the least.
And now that you're a third year student, you've encountered that. You've gotten past that, and now on your way to becoming a full-fledged doctor. That it's no big deal once you get there. I understand the program. Starting to get the program, it allows the doctors to. I'm an old baseball guy. They get a little batting practice in before it matters, and no one gets hurt. What are some of the requirements to participate in the program as a standardized patient or human model?
if you have any acting experience or any interest in the medical field or medical education, if you have an interest in wanting to do this, we'd certainly like to have you on board. There aren't any specific requirements other than someone who's energetic, willing to learn, can show up on time for our meetings to make sure that everything begins and ends at the same time. If you're excited and you'd be interested in doing something like this, well, come on board. We'd love to have you.
How did standardized patients and human models make a difference when it comes to opportunities for medical students?
I think Clint said it best, is that no matter how much preparation you put into this in your first 2 years, which is a lot of lecture based. Clinical skills, what we do in clinical skills is we take what we have learned in theory and we put it in application. And thanks to the individuals on the panel for our standardized patient panel and human model program, they've helped facilitate that process. They're applying what they're learning and they're putting it into practical situations so that when they do get out in third and fourth year rotations and then of course into residency, that they have a sense of comfort and a good grasp of what's expected of them in and day out patient care. So that's a big difference. I think Clint would agree with me that if he didn't have this opportunity, the odd experiences that he's picking up on while he's doing these exercises or having these experiences would be those odd experiences that he would be having in his third and fourth year rotation. And I think that'd be certainly a more awkward situation since, as you mentioned, what you do or don't do can ultimately impact that
Sure.
particular patient who's relying on you to provide good standard of care.
Sure.
So this is all in preparation, and I think it's an outstanding opportunity, not just for our students, but for any medical students out there who are given this opportunity, because it prepares them and gets their feet wet, if you will, before they go out and actually do this on patients, once again, who rely on the kind of care they provide.
It's extremely important.
Very much so, and nothing's more of an honor than to be given an opportunity like this, to be part of the students who are desiring to accomplish the very same goals that you were given the opportunity to. And I want to just thank those members on our standardized patient and human model panel who are currently on it, and we welcome again anyone who would be interested in this, because what's really nice for me, coming from a big city, as we had discussed earlier, is to see the community coming out, reaching out and working together with those
Sure.
at the medical school to train these students to become future osteopathic physicians. I think that's a big plus. Naturally, our anticipation, since many of our graduates graduate and stay in areas, that they'll return that favor by filling a need, a recognized need in our area and other similar areas in the state of Kentucky and elsewhere, and that is to provide needed medical care to those patients who rely on having good, well-trained physicians in their area.
It's Where the 99 Lead. It's a presentation of the University of Pikeville, where we talk about all things involved with the University of Pikeville. Today, talking with Dr. Peter Zajac and his role as the director of Kentucky College of Osteopathic Clinical Skills Training and the Evaluation Program. Third-year student, Clint Kaufman. When do we get to call you Dr. Kaufman?
Let's see, May of 2013, so
All right.
another year and a half.
So we still call you Clint now.
Yes, sir.
As a third-year student, we've talked about the standardized patients, the human models.
Mm-hmm.
You've been through first and second year.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure we've had a School of Osteopathic Medical student on this show to talk about the daily life of a med student. Let's talk about what happens year one.
Okay, year one, I mean, just like school, it's Monday through Friday.
Classroom.
Yes, sir. Just classroom. The way the way the medical school works is 2 years of classroom, 2 years of clinicals. It's a 4-year program, so you have 2 years basic classroom. You do the clinical skills program where you do hands-on, but then your second 2 years you're out in actual clinical rotations. So first year, you start and you're taking all your basics, anatomy and cell biology or histology, and it's a 5-day a week. You might go to class from 8 to 5. You might go to class from 8 to 3. Generally, it said you study about an hour to 2 hours for every hour you're in class, and then add in on the weekends.
It's a grind.
Absolutely. And then the way school works, we do there's 9 blocks, a block being 4 weeks long. So you have 18 blocks in those first 2 years before you get to go out on rotations.
Tough deal. Not much sleep during those first 2 years.
No, I always joke that as a medical student, you eat and sleep when you get a chance. So if there's free food, you eat it, or if you get a chance to sleep, you sleep.
I understand that completely. First year spent in the lecture. Second year, much like the first, maybe slanted a little more toward clinicals.
Yes, sir. Because about the second half of second year, second year total, you start putting in some classes like pediatric and psychiatry. Then as you get towards the end of the second year, you start larger classes like internal medicine, OB-GYN, surgery. A lot of those pure clinical classes, but based on those clinical sciences, and those kind of usher you right into taking your first step of boards the summer after your second year, and then into your clinical rotations beginning basically in August of that summer, so beginning of your third year.
Now, as a third-year student at the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, how much of your time is spent in the classroom, if at all, or is it all in a clinical setting?
It's pretty much all in the clinical setting, and we're, of course, expected to, we read and have to keep up with everything we see every day. There are certain programs through school where we have to do some classroom stuff online, and I think there are some new things coming along down the pipe that's going to increase as our class sizes increase. But as far as sitting in the classroom, depending on the rotation site, there are certain didactics you do at your rotation site where you have some classroom and or research situations. But it's not, you spend your hours face-to-face with patients, and then you go home and you read, about that patient and about that, the pathology or whatever. So you then, of course, learn what you saw that day.
And your clinical rotations take place at Pikeville Medical Center?
Yes, sir. My core site's here in Pikeville. Yes.
Dr. Zajac, we see the Cole building nearing completion. It's been an exciting part of downtown Pikeville, the Pikeville, Pike County, Eastern Kentucky community. I know it has special meaning to those on the UPike campus and to the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine. It's your building. The new home for the medical school. It opens later this year. Talk about the new clinical skills and training center that's part of that building.
Yeah, the Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation Center will be housed on the fourth floor of the new state-of-the-art facility, medical facility that we're going to be moving into in the very near future, and it's going to be great. We're going to have 10 standardized patient rooms, so that will give 10 students at one time the opportunity to go in there and to have a clinical encounter. The potential for that is certainly there. And then we're also going to have 2 simulation rooms, and the simulation rooms are going to be equipped with high fidelity robotics or simulation equipment that will allow students to practice providing critical care to patients that they would be encountering during their third and fourth year rotations, and from that point on. Similar to what you would see in an emergency room setting or a cardiac care unit or an intensive care unit. So having those 12 rooms, I think will only enhance, and where it will particularly enhance the students' education is that they'll have the opportunity to actually see their performance in a standardized patient-student encounter, or if they're having an encounter under simulation, they're going to have the opportunity to actually look at their performance and provide themselves with a self-assessment, and that's just going to add a little bit more to their education, because they'll be able to walk away and say, yes, I could have done this differently, or I could have done that differently. And if that adds to their overall experience and points out where their strengths and weaknesses are, it gives them something to work towards before they go out not only on rotations but then into practice as attending physicians one day.
Not only makes them better doctors, but it provides us with better care down the road.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned before, if many of them stay in the area, and many of them are from the area, our part of our mission is to recruit as many students into our institution who are qualified from the Kentucky region. If they go back, it's a win-win situation, I think, not just for our medical school, but more importantly for those, you and me. We're potentially going to be provided with care one day, but from the very same students that we're educating now. So it is a big investment, I think, for those who are in the community, and once again, those who come out and are helpful as standardized patients, human models. I think that only makes it that much more not only exciting, but a rewarding experience for everyone at some point or another.
As I get a little older, it just makes me want to look at Clint and say, study hard.
That's right.
I'm going to need your help soon. The Cole Building, great addition. Obviously, with the addition of the Cole Building, more space, which is needed. with the School of Osteopathic Medicine, expanded enrollment coming in the fall. I know that's
Right.
been approved, and it gives more space. What about technology? Changes in technology for the students with the addition of the Cole building?
Right. The students, every year they get a laptop, so they're going to be able to, I'm sure, do more from that capacity to enhance their education, both in lecture and in lab sessions. In addition to the Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation Center, we're going to have a new OPP lab and anatomy lab. So computers are going to be playing a bigger role so that it's conceivable that we can engage the students from different locations with different things that may be going on, especially when they go out in third and fourth year rotations. They're going to be able to see videos of things that may be important for them. So it's certainly the computers, but again, with the Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation Center, that whole floor is going to be electronically driven. We have an organization that's going to be coming in there to put all the electronics in there, and it's an audio-visual system that will allow for the taping of the standardized patient and student encounters, again, for our assessment purposes, but also to provide the students with some feedback, electronic feedback, if you will, in terms of how they can improve their performance the next time through.
Absolutely. Talking with Dr. Peter Zajac, Director of Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, Clinical Skills Training and Evaluation Program, and third-year med student Clint Kaufman. Clint, you've missed out on the Cole building. Now you're in a clinical setting. You're at Pikeville Medical Center. You've missed out on the Cole building. As you've seen the plans for that building, how will that help students down the road?
Well, it's going to be, I mean, I can't even explain in words the help it's going to be. And it looks like I might not have totally missed out on the building yet. We have our second set of boards that we take between our third and fourth year is basically is like a student, or a standardized patient exam. We have to fly to Philadelphia and actually take this exam. And before your fourth year, we get every third-year student gets back together and we train for this. Well,
Sure.
It looks like for us this year we're going to actually be the first ones that get to use the building.
Incredible.
So I'm not going to get to see maybe the anatomy lab, the OPP lab, but I will get to see the clinical skills and the human model or the standardized patient floor. So that'll be great. But it's going to be a great experience to have everything in one building, to have be able to take do the labs all at once, be able to actually see your performance on videotape and hear hear the audio. It's going to be amazing to get that feedback for yourself, and then you can obviously see what you've done, and then make sure you don't make that mistake the next time. So
the University of Pikeville has made great use of the space that's been available, but the addition of the Cole building, from a student's perspective, how much more helpful will this be for future students?
Oh, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to drive down Hambly and see that building. To come from, I mean, I know when I came down here first time, and it's the campus is beautiful, but like the way that building will stand out, it's going to be amazing. I can't. From a recruitment standpoint, you can't imagine what that will do.
Clint Kaufman, almost called him Dr. Kaufman. Okay.
No.
What, 18 months to
Yes.
go?
Something
All right.
like that.
You call me when that comes. We'll call you Dr.
Gotcha.
Kaufman. Thanks for being here today. Your insight has been most helpful, getting a little insight into what the life of a med student is like. We'd love to have you back, maybe as you draw nearer to that doctor tag. Clint Kaufman, third-year med student. Dr. Peter Zajac, thanks so much for being here today. If someone would like to be a standardized patient or human model, how can they learn more about the program, talk with someone about it, find out more details?
We would ask that you call Susan Wetzel, our Standardized Patient Human Model Program Coordinator, at 218-5445. Again, it's 218-5445. And the other option is, and we would welcome you to go onto our website, the University of Pikeville Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine website, and under job opportunities, there's a brief description of the position along with the additional contact information, along with also an application that you can download and complete and then turn that in either personally or by mail. We'd love to have you guys on board. We want to thank everyone who's given a considerable amount of time to this effort. You're the people out in our communities, and we're very grateful for that, and hopefully others will feel the same way and come help us train our future physicians. We would really love to have that.
You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead, a presentation of the University of Pikeville. Our guest today, Dr. Peter Zajac, Clint Kaufman, third-year med student. On behalf of the University of Pikeville, I'm Andrew Joyce. Good afternoon.